So today we're going to talk about mat chats. Now, for those Muay Thai gym owners or school owners, academy owners, whatever you want to call it, they have not really taught kids a lot. You might be, what are mat chats? So, mat chats are where you sit down with the students, only 5-10 minutes. Even 10 minutes is a little long, but at least around 5 to 7 minutes, and you sit down and you discuss something martial arts related, or especially for the younger kids, like the 4 to 6 year olds, you want to sit down and talk about the things the parents want instilled in their children, like self-discipline, focus, teamwork, things like that. So you pick a topic, and the great thing about like our Muay Thai Kids program is we actually have mat chats for every class done for you already. So, and they're really important, like in a kids class, because it's reinforcing the things that the parents want reinforced, and it also gives you a chance to stimulate them intellectually, not just physically. Now, topics, as I said, the 4 to 6 year olds, you can definitely do like different character development concepts, like around Halloween. You can talk about Halloween safety. And the key to mat, and for the older kids, you can actually sit down and go, okay, today we're going to be working on clinch, and like describe some of the importance of why clinch work is important. You can it doesn't have to be that long. But also, you want to make this kind of a Q&A. I'm going to give a real quick example. Like one mat chat we used to do was on discipline. And I'm not talking disciplining a child like when they're misbehaving. I'm talking about like personal discipline, right? So we always talk, one mat chat was, there are 3 types of discipline. And what you can do is ask the kids in the class, anybody know what discipline means? And you want to age appropriate response. Like usually for younger kids is like doing what you're supposed to do, right? That's a real easy way. I mean, it's not exactly Webster's dictionary, but it's good enough. It's for the understanding they need. That's good. And then you can ask, how many types of discipline are there? And usually they may come up with the right number, wrong number. Always reward kids like, yeah, that's the right answer. You always want to make sure that you're helping them with the answer. Now, there are 3 types for the mat chat and things we talk about. There are 3 types of discipline. And there's good discipline, and you explain that good discipline means when your parents tell you to do something, you do it the first time. That's something like, whether all the different, even when I was in a martial art franchise, they talked about doing things the first time. That's something parents really want, and is a problem like a lot of parents have with their kids. So when they tell them to do something, they do it the first time. You can go as in detail or as little detail as possible about doing things the first time. You can go into it like, if mom tells you to clean your room and you don't do it, is she going to tell you again? And you want them to say yes. Some kids will say no, and you're like, of course they're going to tell you again. But you need to like prompt them to try to say yes. And if you still don't do it, they're going to tell you again, yes, yes, yes. And wouldn't it just be easier to do it the first time? So that's good discipline. Now, another type of discipline is bad discipline. Do we ever want to do bad discipline? No. And you get them all to say no, right? This is not a lecture. Once again, this is a conversation. Thus mat chat, not mat monologue. And so you explain bad discipline is when you don't do something you're supposed to do, or you don't do it the first time, right? So, and then once again, you could put do you ever want to do bad discipline, you put that at the end as well, instead of how I just described it. You can put it wherever you feel appropriate, right? And then you say, what is the best form of discipline? Some kids will say better discipline, great discipline, whatever. It's self-discipline. And then you go, does anybody know what self-discipline means? And you say, tell yourself to do it. That's self-discipline, right? And these are the type of things that parents want to know you're teaching in class besides punching and kicking, right? Now, and unfortunately, a lot of martial art programs Like they market not just punching and kicking, which is true. In martial arts, like those have done it for a while. Yeah, we love the punching, kicking, clinch work, all knees, elbows. We love all that stuff, but that's not necessarily the benefits we get out of it over time. It's fitness, and for kids, it's a lot more. It's like you're teaching so much like success skills. But my only problem is a lot of martial arts schools don't teach them any kicking or punching, worthwhile kicking and punching, right? So we putting this in there lets parents know that you're helping instill things that are going to make them really be more successful in life, which is priceless. And if you market it correctly, you can get a huge kids program. And a big thing is also a good idea is if you're going to do a mat chat. Let's say the one on discipline you're going to do on Monday, the Friday before, or even the same day, like right at the beginning of class. Say, Mrs. Johnson, we're going to be talking about self-discipline today in our mat chat. Here's a copy of what we're talking about. One, you're letting the parents know what you're talking about to their kids, especially if they don't stay for the class. Now, I've always recommended that for the 4 to 6 year olds, we don't require parents to stay, but we highly recommend it. If you have a younger age group, if you do if you can break the classes up into 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 year olds if you want. For Muay Thai, as I said, I mean, other martial arts, you can get away with the really little kids. And if gym openers want, I could do a Muay Thai program for that age group. It's just not a lot of Muay Thai. It's more of like pre-martial arts. You're getting them like their coordination up, their focus, things like that, to be able to take real martial arts classes, right? But I tend to think that, once again, this is not a child development program. It's a martial art program that teaches with the understanding of child development. So we want to make sure that we're starting teaching them Muay Thai at an appropriate age, right? And they're ready to learn Muay Thai. And with that mat chat, like, since you're handing out to the parents, like in schools, academic schools, they're good ones especially, they're taught a curriculum, and the parents know what is being taught. Now, lately in some Zoom teachings in some school districts, they're almost trying to hide what they're teaching to parents, which is kind of scary, but I digress. So you want that's the mat chat. So you can use it as a marketing tool as well, that you do mat chats. Give an example of what you teach, right? So the next question is, why do you want to have mat chat? Besides the marketing, it gets the kids ready for mental, to stimulate their brains, to get them thinking. Especially doing Q and answer, it'll help them focus better in class. And once again, you're giving the parents the character development, life skills, things they want out of a martial arts program. Okay, and you can, as I said, for those 2 age groups, you're going to have those 2 different mat chats, and as I said, in the Muay Thai Kids program, we'll provide all of that for you. And the next question, this is where different schools of thought come up where to put the mat chat. And once again, you can call it Coach's Corner. You can call it whatever. Mat chat is easy. I know mats are more like a jiu-jitsu type environment. Muay Thai is more done on the ring, or not necessarily on mats, right? But you're on the mat, you're on the training floor, right? And so now, in a lot of martial arts schools, especially your karates, they tend to, and at the martial arts franchise I was part of, they put it at the end. The theory there was, especially if you have drop-off parents, they're coming in to pick up their kids, and they usually come a few minutes early. You always have the parents that are always late. And so they're going to hear the mat chat and wow, they're teaching my kids self-discipline or focus or whatever you're discussing. Or for the older kids, wow, that's what they covered today, great. For the older kids, if you don't do it earlier, and you can kind of get where I believe you should place the mat chat from what we talked about with the, kind of going over what we're going to work in class. But you could do it as a review. Like, so today what did we work on today? You could do it as kind of like, what did we work, kind of like get the kids to review. Now, for the older kids, you can still do that when you're bowing them out. And when I say bow out, I'm talking about the cup and cup at the end of the class. And I usually think, more, and you can do the high five or like the jiu-jitsu hug, whatever. But it's always good. You can always do a review at that point too. But for the mat chat, and so, it was, the idea behind it was that for parents, like they hear it at the end of class, especially if they weren't there the whole class. And so it's the selling point. Once again, though, if you hand out the mat chat, the parents have a copy so they know what you're talking about, right? And the problem with the end of class, if you have a good class, which means they should be sweating, tired, and have a lot of fun. And like I just posted on the Facebook group a sample game, and you should really end on a high note and a lot of fun on it. If you end with a mat chat, even though it's interactive, it's not as fun. I mean, you can make it kind of fun and goofy, but it's not the greatest place to do it. The kids are gonna be tired, and like the last thing they did in classes, which they're gonna mostly remember, is you're sitting down and talking. So especially like if mom didn't come in, they just like if the kid ran to the car type thing, like what would you work on today? We just sat around and talked. You don't want that either. So that's a big detriment to putting at the end of class. Obviously, at the very beginning, doesn't necessarily make sense. I get them moving a little bit. Especially, a lot of times, like in an ideal schedule, they should have just come from academic school. So they just went from academic school. You're going to sit down and talk to them some more. They need a little bit of break. So usually bow in, and then you have them do your stretching, warm-ups, and conditioning. Get that conditioning out of the way. And usually after that, if you have a good conditioning, age-appropriate conditioning, they're going to need some water. So you have them get a drink of water, come back and do the mat chat. And with that mat chat, then, once again, don't make it too long. It'll give them a chance to finish recovering from the condition you just did. And then from the mat chat, you go right into whatever you're working on today. But that's a really ideal place to put it. It helps with a good flow of class, and then like all the curriculums I create, they have that in there. As I said, you can put it anywhere really if you wanted to. Like if you just like if you are not following our class planners to the letter and you adapt it, then it would be like you could put in what you fit. Mat chats are really important. And I think you'll see a lot better retention and like parent involvement when you do things like that. And once again, you're not lecturing to the kids. You're getting them to think about. You're asking them questions. You could even do it like, what is something mom or like? And what we do is like tie mat chats to the homework. And yes, I mean there's martial homework in my program, but there is also like self-discipline homework. And I've done this for years, way back until like when I was first starting teaching kids. We did martial art homework, and you definitely want to have some training, practicing at home type homework, but also self-discipline homework. And you can tie that more directly, if for what we're talking about self-discipline. For if you were doing talking about focus, and we have a thing about the 3 ways of focus, you could have the kids go home and the homework they have to show using 3 ways of focus, or things like that. You can tie the homework into the mat chat, which makes it even more powerful, and like we do in the program. So once again, mat chats are short little 5 to 7 minute discussions you have for the younger kids about some sort of success skill. Older kids, you're going to be going over what you're going to be doing in class. And you can actually add some benefits, or you can do more of you can also think of like when a coach comes out and talks, a football team talks about certain things. But the older kids, you can also talk about things like teamwork, or for the older kids, you can also besides just what you're going to work on in class. Um, you can, and we have different ones like an alternate mat chest for the older kids as well. Like you could do the what we're working on today one, or once again, you could do success skills for the the older kids. You don't want to do it in an adult class, and it gets kind of iffy if you're doing a teen class. Um, but you can also use it as time. Like you don't always like when we do a mat chat. If there's something coming up, like you're seeing kids hitting outside of class, like it's a problem with one or two kids, and like the parent has said, "Could you please discuss this with our like we don't hit siblings at home?" You can use that as an alternative mat chat. You can sit down and say like, "When can we use martial arts?" And like we used to always say, to protect ourselves and other people. Like we have a creed that I'm going to put in here. Now, I originally, because I was doing a mixed program, I based the initial creed off the Japanese Bushido, the ethical code of the samurai. But this one is more, I've made it more Muay Thai centric. But one of the things that I only use Muay Thai to protect myself and the lives of others, protect my life and the lives of others. And you can use that, reinforce that in a mat chat. And I actually some of the mat chats are, for especially the younger kids, are having to do with the creeds. And that's another video, is like why you want to have a creed you say at the beginning, end, or right in class. Now, once again, for adults, some karates have they make their adults do the same type of stuff that kids do. In that regard, it's also not age specific. You don't want adults are here to work out, learn how to kick butt. Now they might learn self-confidence. They'd never ever say that, and some of the same attributes kids are picking up from martial arts, but they're not gonna. You can't make them feel like they're in a kids class, and that's a big mistake some of the karates do. And once again, if you haven't seen my other videos, when I say karates, I'm just using a generic term for your quote-unquote traditional striking arts, your taekwondos, your karates, your tangsudos. I'm just using it as the Americanized generic term for martial arts, and usually striking arts, not like jiu-jitsu or judo or whatever. So you can use mat chest for this as well as like a cautionary tale, like if some kids are having problems, or like if there's something in the area, like local news, that you want to bring up and discuss with them. Like if there's when I was growing up, we had a stranger situation with a station wagon. You younger kids, you younger school owners might not even know what a station wagon is. But where it was abducting kids, and you could use that stranger danger type talk, in, like if it's in something that's happening in your community that you want to put out to the younger kids. Older kids, we don't want to get too much into when they start getting older. Then it's stuff that I don't think is appropriate in martial arts school that parents should be talking about. But there's certain things like teamwork, working together. Especially in sparring, if you start seeing them become more adversarial, not I always use the analogy. Sparring is steel sharpening steel. But if it's getting more of oh, you suck type of attitude, you can use that mat chats for the older kids for to create a cohesive training group, and help instill the culture of your gym. So if you have any questions on mat chat, or you want to post in the comments below, you can also, if you'd like to, I'll send you either the mat chat I just did, the types of discipline, or if you want another one, post below discipline mat chat or other mat chat, and I will send you a copy of a mat chat, either the discipline one or another one. So just type mat chat or other mat chat in the comments below. I hope this was really helpful. My goal is always to help you on the journey of teaching kids, especially because I know Muay Thai instructors, and myself, even before I did Muay Thai, I started off teaching adults and changed over to kids. A lot of your karate schools, a lot of them start off teaching kids first. especially if they're brought up in a professional school. So until next time, cup and cup.